Hi, everybody. Welcome. So good to see you all. Hi, Richard. Hi, Hugo, Johanna, Isabella, Valerie, Jolene, Caitlin, Jason, Andrew, Ashley, Jose, Kimberly, Yalitza, Haley, Martin, Jimmy. What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. How's it going? I'd love to hear in the chat. How's everybody feeling today? Let me know in the chat. Tired. Good, tired. Ooh, amazing. Okay, Andrew, let's go. Haley, it feels a bit sick. Oh no, I hope you feel better soon. Fantastic. Ooh, okay, love it. Calm, good. Okay, we're all over the place. I like it. Awesome. I feel good today. I also feel a little sleepy today. I don't know. I just don't feel very motivated, but the weather here is the snow is finally melting. Can I share with you how much snow we have right now? Woo! So much snow, but it's melting finally. I'm excited. Anybody watch the Super Bowl? Anybody watch the Super Bowl? Can I get a like thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up? Okay, okay. What'd you think? Richard, yeah, boring. Like, who wins the Super Bowl by kicking field goals the whole time? Super boring. Anybody else have anything to say about the Super Bowl? Yes, Johanna, the halftime show was epic. It was epic. Awesome. All right. Well, how was last week? I missed all of you. You went over paychecks, reading your paychecks, did you W-2s? How was that? Did you learn anything? Yeah. Okay. Isabella, I see you saying yes. Okay. All right. Any questions or anything that's sticking with you from last week that they didn't cover you want to know? Can I see a show of hands of how many people get a paycheck right now? How many of you have a job or get a paycheck every week? Okay, not yet. Okay, fair enough. All right. Sounds good. Well, today we have got a great session. Would love if I could get the slides going and we'll dig in. Okay. This week we're going to talk about adaptability and contingency planning. I'm curious when you hear this topic, what comes to mind? Or what does it mean to be adaptable? What's a contingency plan? Does anything come to mind? Anybody want to come off of mute and share? Okay. All right. Okay. Quiet crew today. Fair enough. All right. Well, I'm thinking of Batman. Okay, Richard. Richard, tell me more. I love this. Can you come off mute and talk a little bit more about Batman?
He has a contingency plans for each of the damn it, what was it called? I forgot I know the superhero's name. I forgot the superhero's team. Um, he has a contingency plan for every hero in case they go rogue.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good example. That's such a good example. I love that. Yeah, like how like a backup plan or multiple options, multiple directions. So that is great. Thank you. Such a good example. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. How do we be adaptable and have these contingency plans? And let's see here. Okay. We can skip slide 2. We already talked about that a little bit. And if we could go to slide 3. So if you could launch the poll, that would be great, Beulah. Okay, so today we've got a few things to go over. One, is understanding how do we build the skill for adaptability. And why is mindset and repetition key to that? And it's not really a matter of personality or talent. You can build that skill. We're also going to talk about how simple contingency planning lowers our stress and keeps us focused during unexpected changes. And we're going to apply flexible thinking and practical backup strategies to increase confidence, problem solving, and follow through. So, um, we've got a poll going on, and I'm curious to hear from all of you. Can everybody see the poll? Working on it? Okay, cool. Let us know in the chat if you can't see it. But there's a few different questions in here. So one is, how do you usually react when plans change suddenly? And how you react to that is a huge part of being successful and navigating situations and navigating life. How often do you create backup plans? And then which statement best describes your mindset during change? So, mindset, backup planning, and reactions are all really key aspects of all of this. So, we've got like 65% of you participating. We've got a few more folks who need to pop in on this. Okay, we're getting there. I love it. You guys are cracking me up. Okay. Um, all right, we've got just a couple more folks that need to answer, and then we'll share it with everybody. But there's some definite answers that are rising to the top. So, how do you usually react when plans change suddenly? The number one response, about 50% of you said, I try to adjust, but I struggle. So it sounds like this is an important class for us to go through today. Um, a few of you get panicked, get stressed. On the other side, some people stay calm, look for alternatives, and are adapting quickly. So we're all over the place, but I would say about 50% of you are trying to address but struggle. Okay. How often do you create backup plans? This is a total mixed bag. Some of you are like, never, nope, don't do it. And others, the most is that almost always or only when I'm worried. So there's a pretty wide range of answers for that one. And which statement best describes your mindset during change? This is annoying, but I'll deal with it. Seems like the overall answer here, with a few people saying that they're a planner. And so they make detailed steps. Change helps me grow, which is such a great mindset to have. Why is this happening to me? That's a mindset, right? That we're going to try and flip a little bit today. Okay, so I'm going to share that with all of you. And then, all right, before we get into it, I'm going to ask Beulah to share a video that when I watched it makes me think about how you have to sometimes, oop, there we go. Okay. Um, that makes me think about how we have to sort of emulate nature in a certain way to be able to navigate change. And so we're going to hear a little bit from our nature friend here before we dig into the topic today.
In the depth of the lush rainforest, where nature's hues come alive, we encounter a creature like no other. The chameleon, a marvel of adaptation and disguise, masterfully navigates the ever-changing world. With each step, it overcomes adversity, embracing versatility and resilience. A spark of wonder and curiosity can be seen in its eyes. We're reminded that even the most extraordinary beings thrive on continuous learning and adaptation. One such being isn't found in the lush rainforest, but in the dense concrete jungles. This creature thrives when resilient, adaptable, and capable of transformation. In this ever-changing world, it's time to embrace your colors and be everything you want to be.
Okay. Whew, there's so much that a chameleon does that we have to do every single day. Does anybody have any examples of how they've had to adapt already today? Did anybody have to adapt in any single way today? Either pop it in the chat or come off mute. I had to adapt today. I got up late. Yeah, coming back from winter break was a struggle. Okay, Valerie, tell me can you share a little bit about what the struggle was and how did you adapt? No. Okay. Valerie, can you hear me
Um,
okay? Oh, there you
yeah,
are. Okay.
yeah. I started completing my daily routine that I do daily when I go to school.
Oh, sorry, it's
And
really hard to hear you, Valerie.
can you hear me?
Yep, that's better.
Okay,
Yep.
so I completed a routine that I do as my daily when I go back to school, and I started adapting to it, and it started being more easier for me.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Awesome. I love that plan. I this morning I woke up late and I needed to be somewhere. I knew I was going to hit traffic, so I had to adapt in a couple of ways this morning. I didn't do my usual morning routine and I had to skip some of that. I jumped in the car. I took a little bit of a different direction than I usually go to try and avoid some traffic. So there's little things. Ooh, okay. Yeah, Haley, you adapted this morning. Okay, I slept over at my sister's house. So I had to do my makeup in the car and wake up at 6 instead of 6:30. Yeah, huge. Two things, right? Had to wake up earlier in order to get to school and then had to do your makeup in the car. Perfect. It's totally adaptable. I love it. Those are great examples. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about what mindsets. Can I get the next slide, Beulah? Thank you. Okay, so adaptability starts up here. It starts with how you think and what your mindset is around it. So change is normal. We already adapt every single day, right? Even when you're walking down the hallway during class, and if you have to duck around somebody or go a different direction or go to a different bathroom because someone's cleaning the bathroom, there's all kinds of little small micro adaptations that we make every single day. And then there's also these big adaptations that we take as well. And our first reaction doesn't have to be our final reaction. So sometimes you can be stuck in traffic and think, oh, why is this happening to me? I'm stuck. I'm going to be late. This is ruining my day. And that can be your immediate reaction, but it's not one that has to follow you the entire rest of the day or even through the rest of the situation. That first reaction, you can change that from something that's negative to thinking about it, reframing it as more of a positive or a neutral situation. The third is that flexibility grows from practice, not personality. So sometimes people say, oh, that person isn't adaptable or that person's not very flexible. But that is something that we grow within ourselves, and people have the ability. This is like working on a muscle. You can flex this muscle, work on this muscle, and make it stronger over time. And the fourth is that growth mindset makes adjusting easier. So we talk a lot about growth mindset at Youth Champions, and staying in that growth mindset will help you reach into adaptability and contingency earlier because you can look at, okay, how do I need to flex and shift and adapt because of what's happening to me versus being in a mindset of why me or this stinks or whatever it might be. And so that shifting from why me to what now keeps us moving forward. So we can think, why is this happening to me? Or we can think, okay, what are we going to do now that we've been tossed this curveball or this thing that we were not expecting? And these are all really important. So we're going to go to the next slide and we have a workbook question. So I want you to I already asked a lot of you and you've already got some good answers, but I want you to talk a little bit or in your workbooks, think about a time that something changed recently and how did you adapt? And this could be something small throughout the day, or this could be something bigger, like maybe you didn't do well on a paper test that you thought you were going to. Maybe something happened with family or friends that you didn't think was gonna go that way, or something got canceled. So think of a time that something changed recently, and then how did you adapt to that situation? So I'll give you 90 seconds in your workbook, and then we're gonna go into breakout rooms and share out with some of your peers in the room. Sound good? All right. We'll see you back in about 90 seconds. All right. Everybody have enough time to write something down? Thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways, thumbs up. Okay. All right, cool. We're gonna go into breakout rooms. I'd love for everybody to share a time that you recently had to adapt. What happened in that situation, and why did you have to adapt? And what did you do to adapt? So I'll see you in breakout rooms, and then you've got 4 minutes. So if you can keep an eye on the time and make sure that everybody has time to share out, and then we'll come back to the room. Sound good? Everybody. Ooh, I got to hear from one of the groups and I heard some interesting ones, and I also heard a theme. I heard a major theme around school and needing to really lock in this year, being in 10th grade. Wait, 11th grade? 10th grade? 10, wait, 10 or 11? 11. Okay, 11th grade. Okay, so I heard a lot of folks saying like it gets harder. You have to plan school first and make sure that you prioritize school first. I'm curious to hear from some folks. What is something that you've had to adapt to recently? I'm gonna call on a couple of folks just to get us started, and then we'll go from there. Jimmy, what did you share out?
I said when I came back from vacation, I had to change time zones. I had to adapt back to having a routine, and I had to change my schedule again and get used to the time.
Yeah, that's such a good one. Time zones is a big thing to adapt to depending on how far away you were. But even just going from vacation mode back into like regular life mode, that's a big change. That's a good one. Thanks, Jimmy. Corelli, what about you?
I think a change I recently had to adapt was like coming back from winter break because um I don't usually like wake up early and I had to wake up early for school.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of get used to hanging out over winter break and sleeping in, no alarm, chilling, and then have to get back to work. Yeah, it's a big change. It's a big change, especially when it's winter and it's like cold and sometimes gray. It's hard to go to school, get back into it. Anybody else want to share? Okay, I'm gonna call on one more person. Jolene, what about you?
I said like if plans get canceled, because then I have to like adjust to rescheduling and like making the plans again.
Yeah, totally. It's a good example. Happens for all different kinds of reasons, right? People get sick, there could be a cancellation, all kinds of different things happen. Okay, awesome. All right, cool. All right, so we're in the mindset. We're moving. Let's go to our next section. Okay, so contingency planning. So this is where Richard was talking about Batman, right? Or whatever. I mean, I feel like almost every superhero has to have some sort of contingency plan. They've got a backup plan, they've got another direction that they can go in. And contingency planning often helps us stay ready and not stressed. And there's a fine balance here because you can also be like an over planner and be overly stressed about something. I am guilty of this sometimes. Last week, I had a situation where I was like over planned for something and it was stressing me out. So I went too far. But on the other hand, if I don't have a plan at all, that also stresses me out. So there's sort of this like zone of being prepared, but then also being able to navigate what happens to you. So a contingency plan is simply having a backup move. So if this happens, then I'm going to do this. And it could be something just small or it could be a major thing. So it could be, I really want to get into this college, or I really want to get this job, and this is my first pick, but I'm going to apply to three other things that I'm also interested in. And so if that one thing that I don't have my mindset on doesn't work out, I have a backup plan. I love a backup plan. I have made a lot of backup plans in this last year. And I'll share a little bit more on that before we go into our next breakup. So a lot of times we use contingency planning to prepare for the problems that are most likely to happen. So in our mind, right, we can expect that this is going to go this way. Um, and then we can also imagine, all right, is there a likely situation that if it doesn't go the way that I think it's going to go, that it could go? and thinking about, all right, if that happens, what can I do instead? And that hopefully that reduces a bit of panic. And then these small, simple backups work better than perfect ones. So that's where you can get into this place of almost like being frozen, because you get into a spot where you're like, well, I don't have the right backup plan, or I don't have a number two, or I'm thinking too much about what could go wrong. And so you have to find that balance for you of having a contingency plan, but then also knowing that life is full of unexpected twists and turns all the time. It happens all the time. I'm telling you that this is one of the most important life skills that I've had to navigate, and so many people have to figure out how to work through these things. It's so important. And the best backup plan is to be able to really trust yourself and be able to pivot completely. So, if all plans fail, our willingness to shift directions becomes the plan and often leads to surprising wins. So, there have been times when I thought, oh, I want this thing. Oh, I'll tell you what happened to me a couple weeks ago. Um, I have been looking for some development and growth in my career right now. And so, one of the things that I have found a lot of value from over the years is having a mentor. And so I had been looking, there's different types of programs that you can apply to when you're further ahead in your career. There's all kinds of leadership development coaching, there's different fellowship programs, there are challenges, there's accelerators that you can join. And so there's all kinds of different programs. And I applied to this program for a fellowship, and I put a lot of work into the application. I was really excited about the opportunity, and then I got the denial letter of you didn't get it. But I was not as disappointed because I had also applied to two other programs that did not the same exact thing, but similar things. And so I haven't heard back about those programs. But after I got the denial letter for that first program, 2 weeks later, I got an email and they said, Megan, I want to let you know that you did not get accepted into the program because we think that you're too far along in your career, you're too senior, and we would like you to mentor the fellows that are in the program. And so it was this big surprise moment of me thinking that I needed mentorship, but they looked at me and thought, you can actually provide mentorship to other people in this program. So sometimes there are really great things that happen when things don't go the way that you hoped that they go. And that was such a good reminder for me. And sometimes they just don't go the way that you want them to, and that is just life. There's been plenty of things that I've applied for, jobs that I've tried to get. Um, oh gosh, lots of things that I've really, really wanted and haven't gotten. But that rejection has always turned into redirection for me. And so that's been something that's been always working that muscle to, okay, if this isn't going to happen, then I'm going to move that way and figure something else out. So on the next slide, we're going to take a little bit longer for this one. And I would love for you to think of an everyday problem that might throw your day off. So, some examples might be not waking up to your alarm, forgetting your phone at home, missing your bus. What are some simple backup plans that could help you navigate what to do next? So, think about sort of your typical average day and what are some of the things that could go wrong. Some of you might have all kinds of contingency plans or have had to be adaptable and do different things to navigate these situations. So actually, Beulah, I know I said 2 minutes, but can you do 90 seconds for this one?
I'm sure
Uh,
you can see that.
okay. Thank you. We'll do 90 seconds and then we'll come back together after that. Oh, whoops. Was that 90 seconds? Sorry,
Yes,
that
it's
was...
90 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that was so fast. Okay. Did you have enough time to fill out that one or do you need some more time? Anybody? Okay. Well, I'll give you a little extra time during the next one too. Okay. Um, all right. Okay. Well, okay. I lost my screen for a minute. Okay, back. All right. What are some of those everyday problems that might throw your day off? Let's see here. I'm gonna call in a few folks. Who haven't I heard from yet today? Andrew, what about you?
Did I say like a bad habit I have or
Like something that could throw your day off.
like forgetting like stuff,
Yeah, forgetting stuff. Yes. Have you ever forgotten anything when you were supposed to remember it?
like my keys sometimes.
Ooh, your keys. Okay. What do you do in that situation, Andrew?
Probably like call my mom or like
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. I love it. Okay. Contingency plan is mom. And if mom didn't answer, then what, Andrew?
Uh, I don't know to be honest. Just
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I love that. Okay. It's a really, I mean, that's fair. And maybe even thinking of what one other thing is that you could do to navigate that might be helpful in the future. Thank you for sharing. Angel, what about you?
Um, probably probably what Andrew said, forgetting my keys.
Forgetting keys. Okay, y'all. Um, This is one I've definitely done. I have a key hidden somewhere in my yard just in case. Does anybody else have, well, you don't have to tell me, but I have a key hidden out in the yard. So just in case I forget that it's out there for me. Because my mom lives in a different state. She's not gonna be able to help me at all. Okay. Anybody else? Let me see here. Who haven't Hugo, what about you?
When I forget I have to do something.
Yeah, when you forget that you have to do something. Do you have an example?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's fair. I mean, turning homework in, I can think there's all kinds of things. Forgetting to feed the dog. Sometimes I forget to give the dog his medication, and then we have to improvise. We have to ask a neighbor to come over and give him the medication because he has to have it every day or he's in trouble. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I love that you're already thinking in this way, so many of you, about contingency plans. All right, let's go to our next slide. Okay. Um, Having contingency plans and being adaptable also makes us more confident. So if we get thrown something that we weren't expecting, and we're able to navigate that successfully, that is a confidence booster for sure. We, as humans, I think even if we don't explicitly say, oh my gosh, we just crushed this, we do have a tendency, hey, to be like inside, if we're able to navigate something, it's like a little win and it keeps building your confidence of like, okay, I got thrown a curveball on this. I was able to navigate it, and that's a win. I'm able to take life and get through it. So confidence grows. We perform better when we expect change. So if we are able to think, okay, this is the plan, but then I'm going to have a backup plan in case the plan doesn't go the way that I think, we ultimately perform better. And then focusing on what we can control leads to better decisions. So this is also another one of those balance points of there's only so much we can control in certain situations, right? We cannot control the weather. As much as that would be nice, we can't control if it is going to be rainy or sunny or anything in between, snow. We can't control that. But what we can do is figure out how we are going to navigate through that. So grab an umbrella, wear sunscreen, get the shovel out and shovel the car out. So we definitely navigate through all of that. Um, so being able to understand like what are the things that we can control, and then a lot of that is our reaction as well. So the mindset that we have, our emotional reaction to it, we can be disappointed, but then being able to move on from that disappointment and figure out, okay, well, what do I do next? And being able to move through that is so important and critical. Backup plans can also help prevent us from freezing to a certain extent. And then these skills carry into life. They carry into college, they're into work. There are all kinds of different things that are really important to be able to be adaptable and make different contingency plans for. So, maybe I can share a little bit of, I think probably the biggest contingency planning and most adaptable I've had to be in my life was a couple years ago, back in the end of 2024. I worked for a smaller company and I had been there about 5 years. And during the year, we weren't getting as many customers as we had for the first 4 years that I was there. And things started to look not so good at the company. And so it was just getting a little bit scary. And our boss told us that she wasn't sure how things were going to end up by the end of the year. And so I wasn't sure if I was going to have a job. So I started doing some contingency planning. And so I thought, okay, well, this could go in a few different directions. Things could pick up, we could get new customers, I could have a job and stay here, and everything could keep going as planned. So that's like one option. Another option could be I should start looking for a job right now and seeing what else is out there and start applying to jobs. And so I did that as well to see what other companies are hiring right now. Who could I work for? And then another path that I thought about taking is I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. What if I take that path? And so I kind of planned for all three paths. And the one that I ended up taking was becoming an entrepreneur. And that's what I'm doing now. And so ultimately it worked out really well, but I had all these different things that I was considering to help me navigate this really big decision that was forcing me to be adaptable. So we're going to go to the next one. And that one is our next workbook question. Wait, okay. What is one area of your life where being more adaptable or having a simple backup plan would make you feel more confident and in control? So this could be something small, this could be something big. What is one area of your life where being more adaptable would make you feel more confident in control? So You could also think about this a little bit in the opposite direction. What might be a place in your life where you might feel a little bit out of control? And that will help you point you in the right direction. Okay, 90 seconds for your workbook, and then we'll come on back. Okay. All right. Would love to hear from a few folks. So, Isabella, what's one area of your life that you would feel more confident in control if you had a backup plan for it?
Um, an area in my life that I could be more adaptable in is like when plans don't work out how I expected, because I can only control my own actions and not anyone else's.
Yeah, yeah. So good. Do you have an example of a time that happened?
Um, like I don't know, like when I plan stuff and other people can't go, we just reschedule it.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So having a backup plan for another time or day that you can go do it. Nice. Okay, thanks, Isabella. Johanna, what about you?
I think one area in my life where I can be more adaptable is in school, like especially with like when I don't know how to explain it, like with homework and deadlines and stuff. I think that if I just like even if I don't reach a deadline, I could always be more adaptable to it. Like I don't like have to stress out about it. I could
Yeah.
always just talk to a teacher. I could
Yeah.
do things. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. Okay, so if you don't make the deadline, not necessarily just like giving up and being done with it, but trying to figure out, okay, can I talk to the teacher? Is there a way that I could maybe do some extra credit or turn it in a little late? Or yes, I love that, Johanna. That's great. America, what about you?
One area of my life would be being like more social. So like I always have like a backup plan of what I'm gonna talk about to like make me feel more comfortable and confident in conversating.
I love that, America. That's huge. And I'm curious over time, it sounds like you've been practicing this. Has it gotten easier for you or made you more confident?
Like somewhat confident.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yes, that's exactly. This is like a muscle that you can keep building. The more you practice these things, right? This is also where it's like sometimes they can feel these things can feel awkward or not your regular way of doing things, but the more that you flex these muscles, the more they're going to grow and you're going to be able to develop and they're going to get easier and become more natural. So that's huge. Thanks for sharing, America. Tuyet, what about you?
I think one area of my life where I've been more adaptable is my math class because I'm good. I think myself good at it, and when I forgot about what I might like my homework or my work that I didn't do, I just do it like easy and get done it and give it to the teacher.
Nice, nice. Thank you. So good. Martin, what about you?
One area like in my life where like being more adaptable or having like a backup plan would make me feel comfortable is like when I like go out or like do something and just doesn't go my way, I could like look for like a backup plan and have like something to do.
Nice, nice. I love it. Thanks for sharing, Martin. Okay, lots of good things turning on how you can start to think about having some more backup plans in place. Anybody else want to share before we talk about a couple other things for today? Okay, nice work today, y'all. All right. If I can get the next slide, we've got lots of good time today. So, next class we're going to talk about battling indecision. Ooh, this is another thing I struggle with. So, we're going to learn about how choice overload, mental fatigue, and perfectionism can stall action and create indecision. We're going to talk about practicing how we limit our options and setting up defaults using simple decision-making frameworks so that we can reduce that complexity and making decisions easier. And then how we can add structure and align choices with your values, and how we do that and build that muscle, build that confidence so that you can support progress and not end up in this place of being a little bit paralyzed around making decisions. And let's see here we've got a couple of announcements, but first, let's give you some time to finish the questions in your workbook. And if you could please complete the survey as well, that would be super great. We love reading the feedback that you have and try to bring that into the classes. I will say determining how many breakouts and how long to do it is one of the things that I don't, if you have comments around that, please put them in there. It looks like 50% of you like the breakouts, 50% of you don't really like the breakouts. So I try not to do them all the time, but I try to bring them in too. Okay, we'll give you 90 seconds and then we'll come back with a few announcements.
Miss, I kind of had a question
Yeah, what's up, Haley?
about like the environment. Like in the workspace, would you recommend like if you don't have a good environment that you work in, like quitting or like what would you recommend? Because you said adapting, you're trying to adapt. But what if like your boss isn't working with you or something? Like what would you recommend in scenarios like that?
Yeah, Haley,
Does that
that's
make sense? Does that make sense?
yeah. Yep, that makes sense. That's a big question too. And this is one of those questions that there's not necessarily like a clear-cut answer. It kind of depends on what's happening in the situation. So, if what's happening in the situation is immoral or unethical or illegal, then I have all kinds of suggestions. Like that's one whole situation, right? But if it's more of like that boss isn't supportive or you don't like necessarily like that boss, like there's a couple things. So one, I think that one of the biggest skills that you'll probably always work on in life is trying to work with other people. And when I say work, I mean that in all kinds of different ways. So when you're in the workplace, there are so many different personality types. There's all kinds of different jobs, and a lot of times you have to figure out how to work with people even if you don't enjoy it, right? And a lot of times it's trying to figure out, a lot of times it comes down to communication methods and trying to figure out, okay, does this person communicate differently than I do, or their style's different? And so, how do I kind of be a chameleon so that I can kind of change how I act around them to be able
Oh,
to
so
work
like
through
work
it?
with them, right? Like
Yep, yep.
adapt like them in a way.
Yep, you got it, Haley. And let me tell you, this is easier said than done sometimes. So, but there is a lot of different personalities, and it is really important to be able to work with different people. Yes, but if it's causing you a lot of stress and challenges and there is an opportunity for you to get a different job, then that's another pathway. So there's quite a range of situations. But I would encourage you to, before you just kind of give it up, to try and work through it and with it for a while. It's a
So
good
like
question.
adapt with them basically, like in those
Yeah.
situations.
Yep, or at least try to, Haley. That's a big, hard question. Thank you for asking. All right, y'all. Okay, we got a few announcements and then we'll send you off into the rest of your day. Before we go on to announcements, any questions or anything else on your minds before announcements? Okay. All right, sounds good. Announcements. We have got the Ignite Speaker Series. So on March 2nd, we've got another one coming up. February 27th is the deadline. The speaker is to be announced, so it'll be coming. Just wait for it. And then the student leader form is now open. It's in the chat right here. The deadline is February 12th at 5 p.m. And so if you are interested in that, please jump in there. And then I see, Johanna, that you just dropped the student guide website into the chat. Would you be able to share a little bit about that, Johanna?
Oh, absolutely. So if all of the announcements and all of the resources, the workbook links, all of the things you need during your workshop, it's all in the student guide website. So it's better to have it bookmarked or placed somewhere on your computer, phone, so that you could easily access them. And we also have a student help form that we answer all of your concerns, questions about youth champions. So we only address concerns from Mondays to Fridays, just an FYI for that. And the help form link is in the chat box. I just dropped it. And then also, I just do want to quickly announce about the JA Finance Park field trip. So I know we already had one last Saturday, and we already closed the RSVP for the one that's coming on this Saturday, February 14th. But we are still in need of how many students? We still have 14 slots left for the field trip this coming Saturday. So if you're interested in coming and you haven't gone last week or last semester with Miss Finley, the RSVP link is in the chat box as well. So that's all for today. Thank you, Megan. As always, you're
Awesome.
amazing. Thank you, everyone, for
Awesome.
coming to today's
Thank
class, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your week.